girl, Christy.
And your boy Malik.
And today we are going to be talking about a few things.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to start off what we're going to be talking about?
Yeah. Okay, so the first thing is, let's see here. Should you change for someone you love?
I think a little bit. Because you should try to, like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, if you have bad things that you know that are not beneficial for your relationship, then that you should try to change.
But how would you know something's bad if you've been doing it for so long? Wouldn't it just be like habitual at that point?
I mean, or if your partner is telling you, I don't like this, and this doesn't feel comfortable for me, or this is big for me because you do this and this and that, whatever, then you might want to try to change that.
I would say that if someone were to ask me, should you change for someone you love? I would say just be open-minded towards some suggestions given by the other person. You don't have to change necessarily because you may not be the problem. Because if someone's asking you to change in a way that's not comfortable for you, you need to speak up because that person needs to change.
That's true.
But be open to their suggestion at the same time.
That's true. But then again, you shouldn't, like, I don't know.
No, because the thing is, you should be willing to change. You have to be willing.
Right.
But that doesn't mean you have to bend.
Right.
Because you may be doing the right thing. Because temptation goes both ways. You could be tempted into some good stuff, but more or less you're going to be tempted to bad.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you feel like it's something bad, like if you wouldn't want the other person to do it to you, then you don't do it. If you know you have that habit or whatever. It sounds reasonable.
So, what would be a good example of that? Like
me, for instance, I yell. I'm always fighting. I'm always yelling. That's just something I kind of grew up in the household of, yelling. So that I know that I'm yelling, but I can't help it. If you get what I'm saying. Like, it just comes out. Like, I can't control it. But I wouldn't want Malik to yell at me.
Well, if I can interject into that, I agree Christy does come from a very argumentative household. But I was too raised in a household where people have spoken loud tones and whatnot. And I chose to go the other path because I'm always known for being calm and cool in situations. I don't bug out. Now, there are many times where Christy will try to poke the fire, but I won't ignite the flame whatsoever. Because that's just me naturally. So she tries to make an argument or do something petty. 9 times out of 10, I'm not going to say I'm perfect, but 9 times out of 10, I'm just going to ignore it and then...
You really do, and it makes me even more mad.
I'm not going to run away from the situation, but I'm just be the bigger person and realize right now is not the time to talk about it. We can come back later and talk about it. Because obviously, if you're both in your emotions, nothing's actually going to get said.
That's true. So. But that is something that I try to work on, which, have I improved a little bit on it? Not really. I don't feel like I have.
You're making progress.
Like, I try to work on it a little bit. Like, now, like, if I feel like I'm getting mad sometime, I just, like, walk away.
Right.
Like, instead of trying to argue or start yelling. But yeah, that's something that if you know you wouldn't like it to be done to you, then don't try, and you know that that's a habit of yours, then probably try to change that. That could be a thing.
And the thing is, I've never asked her to change, but she's asked me many times because she's getting frustrated. She goes, I don't understand, how come you don't talk back? Why you just walk away like that? I'm like, well, for one, when you do it, it doesn't do anything for me. That's just really negative. So I'm not gonna argue back with you and waste both our time so that we can both feel that way. And I'm not suggesting to her, but I'm putting it. I'm showing my side of it, suggesting a different way to approach it from my perspective. So that's like that's like a really smooth way to be suggestive. So you don't have to be like out for like, maybe you should wash the dishes. Well, maybe you should do this. Maybe you should do that, because that's a very bad suggestion. So you gotta be smooth and pick your time.
Right, and watch what you say.
Word selection.
Right.
So let's move on to the second thing. So we're gonna call this mom versus dad. Two different sides. So for this one, we're gonna see it from a mother's point of view and a father's point of view of the same situation. So let's name a situation. Let's say that your child is acting out in public. Now, I think we'll probably come to a similar conclusion on this one because we both know to a certain degree what we can and cannot do in public, but slightly different. So, if let's say that there's a tantrum being thrown inside a grocery store, what would be your side of it?
Me, I get upset, and like I said, I tend to yell. So I don't yell at my kids at the store. I wouldn't yell at them, but I get mad at them and I would tell them, like, you better stop. Like, this is not right. You're not doing it. In my opinion, because he might say something different. Malik, like he said, he's very calm, so he doesn't like give into it, should I say. I don't know how to really explain it. Like, I don't feel like he's as hard as me sometimes. He can be, but most of the time I don't feel like he is as hard as me. Now when he does want to be hard on them, he gets hard on them.
Okay, so from my own father's point of view on it, if my child or children were to act down in a grocery store, I would be calm about it. I'm not gonna go just straight wild on them, but sometimes in some situations in public, you have to put your foot down. Like if the child is being overly just OD going ham.
No, we haven't had many
Nah.
of those at all.
Nah.
Like maybe once I could think of. Maybe once or twice.
Probably once or twice in the whole span.
Yeah, but not many. So we can't really. Maybe just like like a hyper or like being extra loud. Probably, but like temper tantrums.
Like
not really too much.
Probably the worst thing is probably like a couple of small fits of aggression. And in that case, me as a father, I'm not gonna match the aggression. I'm actually gonna be the aggressor over that. Not to try to prove that I'm the man or anything like that, but because if you let the child run over you in any degree and have them think they have some upper hand, you have to be calm at first, and then when they don't expect it coming, show them who's the parent. Not by getting physical with them or anything like that, by just explaining to them the situation and explaining what's wrong with them. Now, at the spur of a moment, you may get emotional. Hold those emotions to the side as a man, because you have to you're not hiding your emotion. You're just being emotionless in the situation at that moment, because you want to take care of stuff at home. Don't do anything in the public eye, because people are gonna have opinions that you don't want to hear at the moment. So what you do is, in your most calm self, I don't care if you have a grocery cart full. You leave the cart if you have to, if it's to that degree. Bring them to the car, drive home. When you get home, handle the situation as you see fit. That's just coming from me.
Well, another thing. The gender. We have one of both. We have a girl and a boy. I feel like he is more softer towards the girl. And I don't want to say I'm softer on the boy, but the girl gives so much attitude. She's like, whereas my son is not like, he's just very like hyperactive. He doesn't like give attitudes and stuff like that. Where he thinks that she's like the, you know, the little angel. We gotta go soft on her, and we gotta go hard on the boy. Tell me right down in the comments if you feel like girls are more towards the dad and boys are more towards the mom. Because my son is really clingy to me and my daughter is really clingy to him. There is moments where she's like, I want mom, but most of the time it's dad. But my son is vice versa. It's like, I always want mom.
And the reason for that being is because it's natural for the son to be with the mother and the daughter to be with the father, because they take the elements of their parents from childhood and probably even before that when you're talking to them in the belly. And then they'll try to find those same elements that they like, that attracts them, in their future spouse. So that's why I'm more delicate with my daughter than my son in most situations, because if I come at her as aggressive as my son, or you know what I mean, if I tap her just as hard as I tap my son, you can't, there's no real thing like when you're parenting as equality, because like I see it as if I'm known as aggressive, if I show aggression towards my wife or towards my son or my daughter, right, in front of my daughter, she's gonna think that violence is just a normal way of life. So when she meets her first boyfriend or her last boyfriend, any sort of man in any situation, she's gonna know that it's okay for them to be violent, which is not okay to be violent. So if she's in love with you as the parent, then you have to know this: whoever she falls in love with will have some characteristics like you.
And let me tell y'all, she loves her father. She loves her father. We can't even be sitting next to each other, laying next to each other. We can't even kiss in front of her, because she'd be like, Mom, don't kiss my dad.
Right.
She loves her father. She will be like, no, that's my dad. So that's true.
And it's the same thing with our son. Mm-hmm. If I go in to try to kiss her, my son's coming right in the middle. We both kissing his head. That's just what it's always been.
Yeah.
Because they have this natural jealousy. Because they want to be, you know what I mean, the one be like, whoa, you getting too close. Which is a natural thing also. Because that's a good thing. You don't want to ever really stop it completely, because that's going to be a natural divide. Because worst come to worst, if something ever happens to one of you, they already have that instinct of, whoa. You're not supposed to be that close to my mother. You're not supposed to be that close to my father. Or if you're both still around, they gonna go and tell the other one, you know, dad was next to this lady. You know, mom was next to this guy, and it was real close. So you want to keep that in there too.
And my son is, oh my God, he's so protective of me. I had a physical not that long ago, and I was gonna get the flu shot, and he was freaking out just because the guy was gonna give me the shot. He was freaking out. He's like, no, not my mom, no.
Right.
It was so funny. But yeah, that's just the way it is.
So let's cover another quick topic. So let's see. Alright, so we're gonna do this one.
Why should you always put yourself first? You want me to answer that, or you want to answer that first?
Well,
my nose is always bugging.
I'll answer it first. Because she said, why should you always put yourself first? Question form. I thought that was interesting, because she said it as a question, but when she told it to me and I heard it more as a statement. And then, so my whole thing on it was, why shouldn't you let other people come before you? That's what I heard. So I heard instantly, like the cons instead of the pros of it.
Right, because it kind of sounds
Right.
selfish a little bit when you ask it.
Right. And so I was like, well, one reason why to keep yourself first is that if you love anybody more than yourself, then you're instantly doing something wrong in the equation, because then you become the second person or the third or the fourth or the fifth. Because if you put one person first, who's to say this is not a chain reaction? So you're thinking of yourself as selfish for wanting for your own, when that's just naturally how it is. That's the way of the world. That's the way of the universe, as a matter of fact. You know what I mean? Like, if you think about it, is the sun being selfish because we're all rotating around it? Or is that just the way it's meant to be? So, you know what I mean? It's something as simple as, you know, oh, if I'm hungry, right, should I eat and then see if anyone else wants something to eat? Or am I going to stop what I'm doing and starve myself by asking the next person, oh, yo, can we eat? See, for a lot of people, they go, oh, well, you know what, that is selfish, because, you know, you should just buy something and break bread with everybody. You can't necessarily do that, because when you do that, you starve yourself a little bit more. And so, you know what I mean, instead of living to 80, now you living to 65, because your whole life, you know, broke bread with people that didn't even deserve, you know what I mean, the plate you gave them.
Right, and that's another thing. Like, it's okay in certain situations not to put yourself first, like with your kids,
Right.
and certain things.
Right.
But then there's certain friendships that you think are friendships. There's just certain things where you know for a fact that person is not going to do the same for you, or whatever the case may be. So don't be afraid to put yourself first. Don't be afraid to put your needs first. If that's not what you want, that's not what you want. You got to do what you got to do for yourself.
And I would say this, as far as that goes, family, when I think of someone, when they say watch out for your family, I'm talking about the immediate family. So, you know what I mean? If you have a wife and kids, that's the immediate family. You look out for that core first, and then build your way out.
Right, that's like that
right.
meme. Your family that that you came from is important, but the family that you create is your priority.
Right.
So.
Because it says that in any book that leads you towards, you know what I mean, life lessons. That basically there's a time where you have to move out of your parents' house and into your own house. And when you move into your own house, don't forget the house you came from, but understand the house that you're in
is the number one.
Right.
Right. And you know the things that you will do for people, but that people won't do for you. So don't feel uncomfortable and in you feeling a certain way or not wanting to do a certain thing, because there's sometimes that you don't want to say no to a person because you'll feel bad, which I'm guilty of that. And they just don't feel bad. You gotta put yourself first in how you feel comfortable or what you want to do.
Right. And then come from my whole view on that is my takeaway is, right, me, I don't feel bad at all, because necessarily if I'm doing something for myself, I know whoever really cares about me is gonna understand that, because they understand that I'll give my last $5 to them if need be. But if you got $10 in your pocket and you just want 15, then you better not even ask me. Because if I find out you got another 10, then there's gonna be an issue. There's gonna be an altercation. Something's gonna happen. Because if I go broke while you went around with whatever material or whatever sort of mindset that just try to get me on the jukes, it's not going down like that. Especially if my family gotta starve and your family eating well, nah, it's not happening.
Banging out.
Okay, so when Chrissy came with this concept, I thought it was really interesting, because she said, "Oh, we should talk about how children don't play enough." And I was thinking, the first thing I said was,
He looked at me crazy because
sometimes when she comes up with stuff, I'm trying to understand what she's saying from her, and then look at mine and then combine it together. So I was like, I agree that children don't play enough, But when we talk about this, you know what I mean? We should say one thing first. This generation of children right now don't play enough outside and all that. But we should also talk about our generation and the generation before us to see how we got there, right? A lot of people are going to say it's technology, but it goes beyond technology. It comes from just socializing with others, which is, a break off of, you know what I mean? Some people will say technology, but it's really just the softness of the generations to come, because every other generation, it seems like that those certain people that are cut from that cloth are becoming fewer and fewer and fewer. You're seeing a whole lot of people who necessarily probably would have had to swallow their cowardly ways because there was too many people that were too honest and too raw for them. Now it's turning around really quick. It's crazy because people that are honest are looked up as, bullies and feeding people misinformation because the information that they're feeding them is making people uncomfortable. Where I come from, you know what I mean? It's important to break barriers and not just sit in the box, but to think outside at all times. That's how you make change. So to get back on the point of example, so how do you feel about the children of this generation that are coming up right now?
I feel like there are, I want to say lazy, but not lazy. Like, they're just not active. They're not active. They're not out there playing or, I don't know, wanting to join stuff. Like, I see a lot of children nowadays just home, either on the video games, on their tablet, on the phone, not doing much. They're not as active.
And probably to add on to that, right? I think it comes down to two things, right? The first thing I'm gonna say is the children that are running outside are known as the bad kids. That's by social media, that's by news outlets, that's by just common parents and folks around the neighborhood. Oh, look at those bad kids over there, up to no good. Acting like when they were that age, they weren't doing similar things. So you have that right to take from, and then you have the other things. People were playing games where before, when I was growing up, you would have to go over your friend's house to play the game. Now everything's online. Now you don't even need two controllers. You have one controller in your house. Somebody come over, y'all taking turns. We had up to like 4, 6, 8 controllers because they got the multi-pack and all that and this, that, and the third. Now it's like it's made for just a one-on-one. You're not even looking at the person no more next to you. You're looking at a TV, talking on a headset and thinking that's not going to mess up your mindset. That's a false reality you're living in. So those are my two views on that.
I just feel like kids are not active. They being lazy. They don't want to do much. They just want to be on their phone, be on the tablet. And don't get us wrong. Yes, our kids be on the phone and have a tablet. But that's when we feel like they're getting out of control and we need them to calm down a little bit. Then here. Or if we're trying to do something and we need to distract them. Okay, here. But it's just, I don't know. I feel like it's crazy that just people be on like just the electronics and they don't know about, they don't go out and do stuff.
Yeah, because basically the thing is like we're not gonna say that our children don't do this and don't do that and act like we're the perfect family,
No,
because
they do.
Because the thing is, if our kids see other kids with it, for one, we're gonna look up as, oh, that's the boring parents. I'm not going over his house because he don't even have this, that, and the third. Now, if I go over Kenny's house, Kenny gonna be known to have this, that, and everything that everyone's talking about. So we don't want to exclude them from the world itself. You know what I mean? So if they go, there's gonna be censorship automatic. Like my kids ain't gonna go on the tablet and just go wild out crazy and watch some like the cartoons nowadays. They don't even use words. And
that's another thing from our generation to their generation. Like, cartoon is so different. The things they watch is completely different from what we used to watch. I was over over here watching That's So Raven and Sweet Life of Zack and Cody on the Disney Channel. Nowadays they're here watching, I don't know, Larva and I don't know what, these ugly little caterpillars.
Well,
it's so different. Like,
well, I mean, like,
they be doing the dumbest things.
well, the thing is, like, I remember the wildest cartoon I seen growing up was probably Ren and Stimpy. But even if you watch Ren and Stimpy today, you can see the dialogue. Like, there's conversations being had. These people are not even like mimicking words or nothing. It's just straight
They just
slapstick
and they
comedy.
be doing crazy stuff. Like,
Yeah.
my son was just showing me one of those ugly little caterpillar things was like poking his butt and farting like for like 5 minutes straight, and
Right.
I'm like, what is the point of this?
Right, and then when they watch something like that, they gonna go to school and they gonna think that that's okay, cause they're receiving confirmation from the cartoons that you can get away with this and it's all fun and games when it's not really like that. So, you know what I mean? There's a time to have fun and watch cartoons, but you have to be careful. You know what I mean about what they watch on these tablets.
Right. No, we don't want this video to get too long. So, if you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, hit that button and hit the bell button also to be notified whenever we post.
From the east to the west coast. Don't mean to boast, but we do the most.
So with that being said, stay tuned with Christy
And Malik.
every week.
Peace.